Once you have lived on the land, been a partner with its moods, secrets, and seasons, you cannot leave. The living land remembers, touching you in unguarded moments, saying, "I am here, you are part of me." Farmers have a deep, insatiable passion to be close to the land. They are willing to gamble their strength and ingenuity on its response. Perhaps it is man's inherited, infinitesimally small share of divinity that makes him restless and compels him to keep trying to possess the earth, remold it, and dominate it. The earth tolerates these people, nourishes, inspires, and comforts them. It disciplines and teaches them, and in the end, accepts them back tenderly, but never truly surrenders to them nor lets them go free of their obligation to the land. A farmer comes to respect the land as much as he loves it, and when finally he yields to it, it is not defeat any more than a wheat harvest, yielding to the combine, is defeated. It is a harvest, useful, beautiful, eternally repeated.
Did at one time, 2 other gals and myself cooked for 40 men. We would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we had breakfast of either steak and fried potatoes and hot cereal, and applesauce and hot biscuits, coffee. It was always a big meal. And then at 10 o'clock, we fixed a lunch and sent out to the men. Then at noon, we fed our 40 men again. And then the same at night, we fed our 40 men. And at that time, we had lots of flies. When it came time for the men to come in, well, you took your dish towel and swished the flies out the door as much as you could get them out, and hoped that none dropped into food. Some of them did.
Well, you'd get up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I always got up and made my biscuits. Papa was a man that he wanted biscuits for breakfast, and his eggs and meat. And I'd always get up and make biscuits for breakfast, and we had then all those men on the cookhouse. I did the same thing for them. I got up and made my biscuits every morning. Cooked my ham and cooked my eggs, and we had ham and eggs and biscuits and jelly.
Our pay, as I remember it, was $2.50 a day for the person who pitched in the field, to pitch the bundles to a driver. No, the driver got $2.50. The pitcher got, I think it was $3.50 a day, and board. A spike pitch, and I was spike pitch part of the time. That was the one that helped unload the wagons when they came, and then cleaned up after they left what fell to the ground. Got as much as $6, and that was the highest. The cookhouse was always very, very interesting because we ate 3 meals in the cookhouse, and we got 2 lunches served us out in the field. My uncle Jake Weber, he was a steam engineer, and these outfits in most part were powered by steam engineers. Oh, it was interesting. There were always just a bunch of people, lots of horses and wagons and cookhouse and the water wagons coming and going that supplied the water for the steam engines and all of the horses' water for the animals, of course. Because we got up at 5 in the morning and We had from 5 to 6 o'clock. If we were a bundle driver, we had a team of horses that had to be fed grain and had to be harnessed, watered, hitched up when it came time, but while they were feeding, the horses, the team was feeding, we went into the pie wagon or the cookhouse and we would have our breakfast. By 6 o'clock the whistle blew and everything was on its way. There was enough wagons waiting to be unloaded at 6 o'clock that they'd start right out and begin threshing. Well, they had a lunch period, and that was usually on the run because it was delivered out to the people. And at night time when you came in at 6 in the evening, so it was 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 in the evening, you had your team. You usually went watered, unharnessed, and you tied up your team to feed it, and you had to see that it was fed whatever was grain and hay there. And usually the horses got a rub down every night. It was very important with a curry comb and a brush. And we slept in the straw stacks. You'd get yourself a pile of straw and you had a roll of blankets and that's where you slept. And that was it.
Oh, well, at the time I farmed, let's see, up till in 36, well, I used horses. Everybody had a tractor, I think, before I did. But I farmed 240 acres and done it all myself. And in 36, well, I got a little 22 gas tractor. Used that for, I used it for over 20 years. When I come back here, I didn't have much money, and that summer 20, the wages was good. I never got my farming over here. I never sold wheat got $1 a bushel for it till 14 when I went to Idaho. I had some spring wheat on the ranch, good milling wheat, and we had a flour mill in Garfield at that time. So I put it in the flour mill and left it. And while I was over there, Father had one of the boys stride over that he could sell that wheat for $1.03 a bushel. I sent him a letter. If I'd had a fold the way there now, I'd have called him by phone to sell it. And that's the first bushel of wheat ever I got over $1 for. When I was farming, about 85 cents. And when I come back over here and bought, that's what my first crop brought. After it had been selling for $5 a bushel. Yeah. Well, that summer that I come back here, I drove push binder. We was binding in them days, and bound the three brothers grain for them with a 12-foot binder. And they bought a little threshing outfit. Well, I started out to working for them $6 a day. I thought that was the beatin'est thing I'd ever heard of. And it come a rain, and I come into town here, and there was a couple of fellows that was running, cutting grain, cutting out with a combine. And they was out of sack sewer. So he tackled me. Somebody told him I could sew sacks, and he tackled me. It was raining, and they'd shut down, and we had to shut down the bundle threshing too. And I said, "What are you paying?" Well, he said $7. Well, I said, "No." I said, "I'm getting $6." I said, "For all them bundles." And he said, "Well," I said, "I'll give you $8." Well, I couldn't hold it. Thinks that's $2 we won't get. So by jing, this combine, they was a pulling with a tractor, Holt they called it, one track wheel and it was a 20-foot cut, and they had a sack saw and a jig. Well, the day I went on there to sow, they was going in the field, and the fellow got off, and I just stepped on. Well, it was in fall wheat, and it was just a fall out of that machine. Well, I blistered my hands, the hole in front of them. Sack jig wasn't a sack jig. He'd set them out so full I couldn't sew them. Well, I busted sacks and fit them and blistered my hands a-jigging them. So at night I had some tar tape along. I had the Ford car. And I was taking that old back tape and taping my fingers. And the next day or two, this jig said, "You're the ninth sack sawer they've had on here since they started. They've been running, I don't know, 8, 10 days or something." And I come to find out they had some of the best sack sewers in the country here. At that time I was working, doing Father's work, but after I've got my own work done at home, he'd give me the use of the teams. If I get a job, anything get a job at, he'd give me the use of the teams. Well, I'd haul wheat. I'd haul our own wheat off, and then I'd get a job with some big farmer hauling his. I'd drive up to a sack pile and put on 50 sacks on a 16-foot rack and get up in the wagon once. Them sacks weigh as much as I did.
Yeah.
The first year I worked as a driving a bundle team, we worked 13 hours a day for 2.5 a day. Then the next year it was down to 12 hours a day and 275 a day. I don't think it ever got over 3.5 a day for about 12 hours work.
In farming, they started out with walking plows and pole binders and shocking and doing things the hard way. And then in the fall, why the wheat was threshed with a neighbor's thresh machine. And sometimes there was cookhouses, and if there weren't, the dinners were cooked in the homes. And then the wheat was hauled to the closest warehouse. And our closest warehouse was Glenwood. And they would hook up 6 horses to a wagon and load it full of wheat, and then make 2 trips a day. And in going back and forth over the dirt roads, the dirt would be so thick that it would just be a fog. And in order for the other teams ahead to hear them, they would put sleigh bells on the horses. Then as time went on, it went to the putting them in the bins to loose grain rather than in the sacks. And then as time went on, the combines came along, and then they were bulked and hauled to town with the trucks.
The things that we get into them days would be something that come in the summertime. Usually had a big 4th of July celebration and send up a balloon and a lot of things and races and it was and there'd be fairs in the fall like this now. But the country kid didn't have the chance them days he's got now.
From the earth, man learns that his values, classifications of good and bad, necessary and dispensable, long and brief, are purely his own arbitrary values, and the earth does not necessarily endorse them. If, in the end, he learns to combine hope with humility and a kindness and unquenchable gaiety, he has, as farmers say, made a crop. He has fulfilled his personal obligation to the land.